Here's the problem with online pricing guides. They're meant to be helpful for budgeting for homeowners. However, they're wildly inaccurate, not only in the numbers, but the information they provide about how to go about building a patio or a retaining wall. Because some of these are explaining DIY methods and pricing, and they're trying to compare that to professional installation. But there's such misinformation out there that these can't be trusted. I'm going to start with this from Forbes Home. Forbes is a trusted name. This particular article highlights block retaining walls. They're talking about all kinds of retaining walls, but I'm going to specifically focus on block. Retaining wall block walls will cost $16 per square foot for the average professional installation. That's $1,600 for a 100 square foot retaining wall, basic with no extras and under 4 feet. So they're at least acknowledging that once you get to 4 foot, there's another level of construction with reinforcement. And we could talk about it in another video. But I want to focus on the cost. $1,600 for a 100 square foot wall. This is my spreadsheet for calculating materials for a wall based on length and height. And then this width is the width of the trench to figure out base material. So I put in a 25-foot long wall, 4-foot height, 100 square feet total. This number in green is the material cost for that wall. Materials only. It's taking all of these numbers and putting them together. So the materials alone are more than what this article is saying the wall will cost. Well, no wonder when you talk to a contractor on the phone or you have someone come out and look at your project, if you're going by this pricing guide thinking that you can trust this information and it's going to help you to vet contractors, you're in for a shock. I can't build a wall for $1,600 when the materials are that cost. This article, I'm going to skip to this one. This is from Bob Vila, another trusted name specifically in the home improvement space. And this is talking about paver patios. For paver patio cost, homeowners can expect to pay an average of $3,400 or between $2,400 to $7,000 to install 280 square foot patio. Specialized designs or complex jobs can run close to $10,000. The final price is primarily dependent on material choice, the size of the patio, and labor. He's missing one really key factor for price as well, and that is accessibility to the site. If a full-sized skid steer or track loader or excavator can get in there and help to dig and move materials back and forth, getting soil out and bringing new stone in, that will get you closer to these numbers. But if we are, or any contractor has to use wheelbarrows only and shovels or buckets if it's really tight access, that price goes through the roof. In some cases, you might pay triple for a poor access job than you would for a job that has open access. In this article further, they go in to talk about the average labor rate and material costs, and they really only focus on the pavers themselves. But they're saying that the labor rate can range from $50 to $80 an hour. And they don't tell me if that's a crew or per person. When they talk about the labor costs, they say it's roughly half, but they don't specify. And they talk about, 35 to 40 hours to build a patio of this size. For 35 to 40 hours, they're not saying it's one guy or two guys, three guys. There's no specification for that. So it's very fuzzy. If I take the average between $50 and $80 an hour, that's $65 an hour. And I take the average between $35 and $40 or 40 hours for the job, and let's just say I use 38, and I take 65 times 38, so labor rate times labor hours, I'm getting $2,470 for one guy on the job. Now, I think it's too big of a job for one guy. Unless someone's cutting corners, they're not doing that scope of work, the right proper scope of work that's complete for that. So let's add 2 guys on the job. We have 2 guys, so $4,940. And I ran the numbers to get material costs for a patio that's 280 square feet. And I'm coming up with $2,458 for the materials. And that's not using a fancy high-end paver. And 2 guys on the job with materials for 280 square feet of patio is $7,398. So already that also is over that high-end number for the average patio cost. Now, what you have to also take a look at is in southwestern Pennsylvania, we are in a really tough climate. And by that, I mean, we have a tremendous amount of freeze-thaw cycles throughout the year. So we get a cold snap and we get down to freezing or below, and then we'll have warm days, and then it gets cold again, and it keeps going in cycles. Whereas up north, when they freeze and they're cold for the winter, they're cold for the winter. So it doesn't wreak as much havoc on the end product. And then on the opposite end, we have down south where they have nice sandy soils. And there are plenty of contractors in places like Florida that are just taking pavers and putting them on an inch or 2 of sand only. And that's going to drain well, and they don't have freeze-thaw cycles. So they probably aren't going to see the problems that we experience by doing it that way. So they're taking an average of across the country from conditions that vary wildly, and they're putting this all together. And again, in another video, I talk about contractors who just make up pricing based on set square footage that somebody told them, or they're asking others for how to price projects. So we're taking contractors that don't know pricing. We're taking wildly different conditions across the country, and we're putting all this information together. And when you look at this as a homeowner and you're saying, okay, for this small patio, I'm only going to pay, $3,500. And then someone hits you with a $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 patio cost estimate, it's going to blow you away. So it's really not fair to you as a consumer, and you're spending time looking at this, and it's really a waste of time because these articles, they're just not accurate. Here's another article too from lawnlove.com, and I want to show you on the other end, not the pricing information, but the inaccuracy of the information. So this is saying, what's it going to cost if you DIY this versus hiring a pro? Now, who are the pros they're talking to? I don't know where they're coming up with this information. They are going through the cost of pavers, restraint spikes. Now, they're mentioning furring strips. Furring strips are wood for interior construction. They're not anything to do with outside. I don't know what they're using the furring strips for. 1-inch PVC pipe. So they want to use PVC to screed. I recommend metal pieces, not PVC. Line level paver sand. And some of these are probably homeowner grade products too. So if you're going to Lowe's or Home Depot and you're buying your products there, they're going to be of inferior quality. So you're not really comparing apples to apples with professional grade materials. And the price is going to be cheaper at the big box store. All right. Wood screws. Again, I don't know what you need wood screws for a paver patio. And then there was something else too that caught my eye. I thought they had some other wood material in here, and I'm not seeing it. But, okay, 2x4s by 4 foot lumber. What is that for? I have no idea. And I don't know can you get a 2x4? I guess at 4 foot, maybe you could get one for $5. But wood varies wildly. wood shouldn't be a part of a paver patio. So already I don't trust this because I don't even understand what they're doing with this. And the article gives you costs, but it doesn't actually give you information about how to install it. So there are just so many missing pieces to this, and just so many things that lead to inaccuracy that none of these articles, in my opinion, can be trusted. So if you want to just focus on pricing and making comparisons, you need to know that you're making a side-by-side comparison of scope for a project among contractors. And you need to stick with your region, because what someone can install a patio for in Arizona or Florida or California isn't going to be the same as what you can do in Pennsylvania. And it's not going to be the same as what you can do in Minnesota. And there's so much to it. This tries to make it basic, and they're trying to be helpful. But I think it's just leading to a lot of confusion and disappointment in the end.